making no money mistakes. Make a payment on your bills and you still late, yeah. Painful profits to help you seek change, and you just wanna get paid, yeah. Tired of making no money mistakes. Make a payment on your bills and you still late, Painful profits to help you seek change, yeah. Cut the show and just listen. You wanna feel empowered by making money decisions. Residual by the hours can get you a better living. Bitch at the check, you know, and it could be different, you know.
What's going on, profiteers? Hope all is well. Man, let me just get right into it. I started practicing in 2008. We all know what happened in 2008. Not fun year as the market plunged 40%. Things got better a little bit in 2009, and from 2010 to really last year, things were rocking and rolling. Before we get started though, like, share, subscribe. A lot of good conversations about my life as a certified financial planner, having their own ETF on the stock market, 16 years in the business. You don't see a lot of African-American certified financial planners, and I got some conversations from clients. In 2008, everybody hated the Federal Reserve because the Federal Reserve was too late to the game, and a lot of people blamed the Federal Reserve for the crash that happened in 2007 and 2008. Not today. We can all blame Jerome Powell and the Fed for not getting inflation squared away. Inflation, after us printing money, deservedly so during COVID, as we didn't know what was going to happen. It was a pandemic. We was all chilling at the house, unless you're in Florida and other places, as we was printing money. And as things went up and up and up and up from an inflation standpoint, the Fed right then and there in 2021 should have got things squashed. They didn't. And then 2022 happens, they raise rates, and everything goes haywire. And because of that, now today, 18 months later, we have regional banks going down. Silicon Valley, bye-bye. Signature Bank from New York, bye-bye. But what the Fed Reserve did was saved the economy from going crashing down. So on Sunday, around 6:30, they said every regional bank, Comerica Bank for y'all in Detroit, PNC Huntington Bank for y'all in Pittsburgh, Fifth Third Bank, my hometown of Cincinnati, all those regional banks, right? Big, large, trillion-dollar banks, but they're regional, not national. The Fed Reserve came out and said, you know what? If it's a bank run on the bank, and what a run on a bank means is that you, your mama, your daddy, your cousin, everybody picks up that phone. Everybody goes to the bank, everybody clicks and says, I want all my money. I'm taking it out. It means people are running up to the register, running up to the teller, running up on an online access and taking out their money. That's what a run on a bank stands for. You literally run into the bank and taking out all your money. So what happens if the bank has, let's say, $1 billion and we take out 900 million, it's some liquidity issues, meaning that if a person wants a lot of money, it's not there anymore. So when people take out their money one by one, the bank cannot survive. They survive on us depositing money. So the FDIC stepped in and they said, if it's a run on the bank, anybody that keeps their money in that bank, your money is safe. Up to $250,000 now, right? Because FDIC is up to $250,000. It was $125,000 few years ago. So it has increased, but the Federal Reserve said, you know what? And your money's still in that bank, you are safe. And by doing that, it gave a lot of consumers confidence that they didn't have to call, run, drive through the teller or online fingers, taking out their money because they know it's safe. So by doing that, you did not have the problem with Silicon Valley Bank. In 48 hours, had 85% of their deposits. So if I deposited $100, I got $100 in my account. For every 100 people who did that, 85 people took out that $100, right? Which made that bank go down. And now they're trying to sell the rest of that bank. But nobody wants to buy it because everybody took out their money. Typically, when you take your money out the bank, you ain't gonna put it back in. So who knows what's going to happen to that bank? And let's say a prayer for those employees, the stockholders with that stock because that stock went down. That's why it's good to be diversified. Prayerfully employees or individuals in general didn't have more than 5% of their money in that bank. I always tell my clients, it's the 5% rule. We never want to have more than 5% of your money in one stock. And this is why. If I got $100,000 and I had, let's say, Comerica Bank that's in Detroit, that went down by over 50%. So literally in one day, my $100,000 is now $50,000 compared to if I had $100,000 and only had $5,000 in that bank, then yes, that $5,000 went to $2,500, but I still got $97,000, not $50,000. So this is very important. We love those tech companies like Apple, which is down, but Apple's still good. Microsoft, Google, Netflix, everything else that we like. But we want to be diversified and no more than 5%. And this is why, because if it's a run on that company, iPhone made the worst phones in the world. I'm done with iPhone. And people just start selling their shares, then you're not caught holding the bag. And you don't want to hold the bag when that bag is empty. So again, shouts out to Jerome Powell and the Fed on Sunday, telling everybody, all these small banks, if people start taking out your money, whatever's there, from an FDIC standpoint, we're going to stick by it and give you your money. They basically save the economy because everybody was going to pull their money from them small banks. They're just going to put them in large banks like Bank of America and Wells Fargo. If you think about the jobs, the dysfunction, the regions, how they're affected, all jobs associated or quasi-associated with those regional banks. Anybody in Pittsburgh, they love them some Huntington Bank. Cincinnati, the UC Bearcats, they play in the Fifth Third Arena. Just think, man, if it was a run on that bank, what would have happened? So thank you so much, Jerome Powell and the Fed. You guys don't get it right all the time, because the market wouldn't have been hurting right now if you guys would have did your job in 2021. From the Fed standpoint, their job is not to save the market. It is to save the economy and give us confidence in our banking system. And by them saying if people pull out all their money, whatever's left in that bank, if it goes under, we're going to insure your money that you put in up to $250,000. They basically save the day. It does take the FDIC up to 2 years. Not saying it's going to be 2 years. Even with some of the banks that went down and went away during the Great Recession between 07 and 09, it wasn't 2 years. It took them about 3 or 4 months. But it does take the FDIC up to 2 years. And number two, a lot of people think that us as taxpayers are bailing out those companies. No, the actual banks pay the FDIC insurance, not us as taxpayers. Now, one thing I don't like is that a lot of individuals with these larger banks, from a executive standpoint, the decision makers, the CEOs, CFOs, CIOs, come to find out the last few months, they've been selling shares of the company. So I'm an investor, and let's say Bank A is worth $100 in January, and the CEO sees their books ain't good, they're not making as much money, and they start selling those shares. We don't know that because they're selling shares. Now, of course, they got to file it, but they have up to 3 months to do a filing. So 3 months, all HELL can break loose, and they just did. It literally just did. A CEO had that stock sold for $100. We have Bank A that went down by 50%. A lot of banks today went down by 40, 50%. Now, as a shareholder, I sell it today at $50. That's not fun. It was worth $100. You knew some craziness was going on. CEO, CIO, you sell, don't tell anybody, and I sell at $50. That's not fun. And you know the crazy thing that might happen? That same CEO might say, you know what? The FDIC came in and saved the day. I don't know if it's ever going to get back to $100, but I sold it for $100. Let me buy it today at $50. If it goes up to $60, 10% return on my money. So I sold high, bought low. That's why it should be some regulations when it comes to things like this, because the regular, everyday people did not know all the craziness was going to happen, but the CEOs, CIOs, CFOs of the world did, and they sold shares. That should not be right at all. Most people now believe that rates will not go back to 50 basis points. They might stay at 0.25, or they might not even raise rates because of all the craziness. So the stuff that they're doing has helped from a deflationary standpoint. You should have just did it in 2021, not 2022. But I digress. You guys don't got to pull out your money. Keep your money in the bank. FDIC insured, which is very, very key. As always, let's be stress-free in times like this. And let's find those investments that are down in value, because that bank, like a Comerico, like a PNC Bank, that are down like crazy, they're down by, or Key Bank, or Zion Bank, or a Charles Schwab, that's down by 20, 30, 40% today. It was at $100, now it's worth 60. To go from 60 to 100, that's an 80% return on your money. Anywho, with that being said, stress-free, and as always, let's make some Payneful Profits together, y'all. Peace!
And you just wanna get paid, tired of making no money mistakes. Make a payment on your bills and you still late, yeah. Payneful Profits to help you seek change, and you just wanna get paid, yeah.